Well, let's begin with the mechanism of synthesis of benzanilide. Benzanilide we are synthesized from aniline to give you the amide compound by the Schotten-Baumann reaction. Now what is happening here is the benzyl chloride is having carbon and oxygen. Oxygen is more electronegative than carbon, so that this oxygen will pull the electron cloud from carbon, forming that carbon a positive charge, that is carbocation. Once the carbon is forming the carbocation in the benzoyl chloride, at the same time this aniline is having nitrogen, and this nitrogen is having lone pair of electrons. This lone pair of electrons will be donated to the carbocation, which is electron deficient, by this nitrogen, forming a bond. You see, the bond has been formed between the NH group and that of the CO group, that is the formation of amide linkage is there. However, there are two things which are still pending. One is the hydrogen and other one is the Cl. We are using 10% of sodium hydroxide solution in this synthesis reaction. So what is happening? The chlorine from benzoyl chloride will react with this sodium, forming sodium chloride, which is completely soluble. At the same time, sodium hydroxide is having another OH group. This OH will take away the proton from aniline and form water molecule, and ultimately you will get the benzanilide, nothing but the N-phenyl benzamide, that is the formation of amide from the aniline compound. This is the mechanism of the reaction. In the next part we will see how exactly it can be synthesized in the lab. Thank you.
Let us synthesize the benzanilide. For this you require all of these glassware, one funnel, two measuring cylinders, one iodometric flask, aniline you require, benzoyl chloride you require, and 10% of NaOH. How we have prepared is the 10 gram of sodium hydroxide we have dissolved in few amount of distilled water, and then we made the volume to 100 ml. So these are what the requirements for your synthesis of benzanilide. Now please understand, the benzoyl chloride is you have to handle it with very much precaution. Now first we will take the 6 ml of aniline in the iodometric flask. In that we are going to add 90 ml of sodium hydroxide solution. This is sodium hydroxide solution, and we are pouring into the aniline. Now aniline is ready with the sodium hydroxide. Now this bottle is of the benzoyl chloride. We have to handle it very carefully because the fumes are carcinogenic. Now we'll take 9 ml of the benzoyl chloride, and slowly we are going to add it into this solution. Preferably we'll use the fuming hood for this reaction. Once we add the benzoyl chloride, we will stopper the flask and then we will shake it vigorously, and this shaking we will continue for 15 minutes. See the fumes inside, that fumes, all fumes should be settled in, and that would be the indication that the reaction is completed. Now I have shaken this flask for around 50 minutes. See, there is no fumes of benzoyl chloride now. That means almost the reaction is done with. Now we will stop the shaking, and after completion of this shaking, I'll add the cold water in the solution in this iodometric flask like this. Again shake for few seconds. Now we will filter this through the filtration assembly. This is the filtration assembly wherein suction pump is there, suction flask, and the entire filter cork, and this is the filter paper I have put in this way. And once it is ready with, we will pour the solution by shaking into the filtration assembly, and by suction all the liquid part will go off and you will get the solid. Now this solid is present in the here in the filtration assembly. Now this is a crude form. So what we'll add water in it, so that water soluble impurities will be washed out by getting solubilized, and this is the crude one. Again we are going to add alcohol in it, and after alcohol we will shake it, and on hot plate we will just make it hot, warm rather, so that your compound will get solubilized in the alcohol at higher temperature, and we will shake it well, and then we will cool it. Once we will cool it, all the soluble impurities will be there in the alcohol in the solubilized form, but this benzanilide will be crystallized out, and this crystallized out benzanilide is coming, we are again filtering it out, and on the filter paper what you are finding is the recrystallized benzanilide powder. Now this benzanilide is having 160 degree of around the melting point, so that we will dry the compound at around 100 degrees centigrade in the oven, and once it get dried you will see the compound like this, and this is what your final compound, and this compound we are going to weigh it, and once we weigh this compound you are getting the practical yield, and theoretical yield we are going to calculate it through the reaction formula, and using the theoretical yield and the practical yield we will find out the practical percentage yield. That is the practical yield divided by your theoretical yield, and we will multiply it with 100. You will get the percentage yield of your synthesized compound. This is the way we have synthesized the benzanilide from the aniline by Schotten-Baumann reaction. In the next lecture, we will see some other synthesis. Thank you.